Today's episode is presented by the Harmony Acre Soap Company. Go to GetSmelly.com. That's GetSmelly, GetSmelly.com, and enter code LoudMouth10 at checkout to get 10% off your entire order. Hey guys, today's episode of the podcast is an interview, a conversation. It's not really an interview, it's just Matt Marsden, who's the Cutman of Bellator. Basically just him and I having a chat. We kind of talk about anything. The idea was to talk about Bellator 175 because I got media credentials to it. So, I've been, today actually, today is March 22nd. This will be up on the 24th, I think. But anyway, I was on the Bellator conference call today with Rampage and King Mo, so I'm already getting stuff kicked off. I'll be in Chicago next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'll be at the event, of course, the weigh-ins. I'm excited, looking forward to it. So anyway, that's why I wanted to get Matt on, was to talk Bellator. But that's not what happened, and what happened was a lot better, because I really enjoy talking to Matt. I would have Matt on my podcast every week if I could. But all right, today's episode, of course, is brought to you by the Voball. Please go check them out, guys. They are, they've been with us since pretty much the beginning. Not the very beginning, but pretty much the beginning. They're a great company. It is a boxing trainer, kickboxing trainer. They're basically rubber, they're made of rubber, or rubber material at least. I don't exactly know what they're made of, but it hangs from a string. You attach it to your ceiling. It's pretty easy to install. But anyway, you punch it or kick it or knee it or elbow it, whatever you want to do, headbutt it, I don't care. And it bounces off the ceiling and comes back at you. So that way you can train for head movement. So you can punch it, bounce off the ceiling. You can move your head to have it go past you. It'll hit the ceiling on, as it goes past you, and then punch it again, rinse, wash, repeat. So you can use it to just lose some weight. You can use it to, again, train, whatever you want to do with it. It's a great product. Again, I've said this before. It's not the easiest thing in the world to explain. So just go to the Voball. That's TheVoball.com. Go to thevoball.com to learn more about their product. So, all right, guys, let's get into the episode.
You got a gun. You got a big gun.
All right, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the LoudMouth MMA podcast. I, of course, am your host, Kyle Steele. Today, we have a returning guest, Matt Marsden, who is the head cutman for Bellator. Today's kind of an informal thing. This isn't a day in the life. It's not even really an interview. I just kind of wanted to talk to Matt again. Matt, how's it going, man?
Good. Most people don't invite me back a second time.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
First impression, so,
I'm sure.
So here we are.
I need to get you and Jimmy on at the same time so that you two can settle whatever beef you have.
Oh, it would just be us busting balls the whole time. Just like, we can't see each other and not immediately go right at it.
I know,
no matter
right?
where we're at. We were in a steak restaurant like a few weeks ago, and the servers were like, "Are they being serious?" And people around were like, "We actually don't know.
We're actually not sure." Yeah, it's the will they won't they relationship of Bellator. Bellator's official will they won't they. That's funny.
But you know what? Have us on at the same time. Because he can't stand up toe to toe without all of his cameras and all of his directors and everybody and makeup people helping him out. He can't do it straight toe to toe. Jimmy knows that.
Yeah, right. So in a fight though, are you at least going to concede that Jimmy could probably take you?
Oh, Jimmy could kick the shit out of me. Absolutely, Jimmy could kick the shit out of me, and he knows that too.
Yeah, there you go. That's funny. Why on I just pulled the card up on Tapology. So the card I'm referring to, everybody, is Bellator 175, Rampage versus King Mo 2. This is in Chicago. This is the card we're going to talk about a little bit. I just pulled it up. Why does it have King Mo as being unranked? Tapology does. Come on, Tapology, get your shit together. King Mo is certainly ranked in the world as far as light heavyweights are concerned, or as heavyweights are concerned.
That seems to be just a Bellator thing. Like, they really don't give a lot of our guys very much credit in any of the the non-UFC rankings at all. So I've noticed that myself. So it is what it is. Hopefully that'll change soon. We're making some good signings. That you can't deny. Their place in the world of MMA and their ranks. So
Yeah, I
Hopefully
mean,
that'll change.
like, let's talk real quick about the announcement of Bellator 180 being a pay-per-view. Like, how cool is that?
You know, that had been talked about for quite a while, and we weren't quite sure. You know, Scott had mentioned that, you know, maybe we should try again. There was a lot of hemming and hawing because, you know, the last time didn't exactly fail, but it wasn't like, you know, home run. There was some weirdness around it. Tito and their, you know, choices when Tito's on the card. And so it was just like we weren't entirely sure we wanted to go there. But then when they came out with this lineup, we're like, actually, no, that can work. I think I would pay for that. You know, and that's kind of I think what Scott does. Scott just asked himself if he would pay for it. And if he would, that's what he goes for.
Yeah, I mean,
but,
so obviously
it's going to be a sick card.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of pushback, which is to be expected. I think as soon as Bellator announced they're doing a pay-per-view, the much of the MMA community was going to laugh it off, or just like you're gonna know there's a lot of jokes coming, and for no reason. Like, trust me, I get it. Like, I'm on the side that Bellator gets way too much shit. Like, I've never quite understood it. If anything, that should be directed at World Series of Fighting, because that's an operation that seems to be hemorrhaging. So I'm just saying, like, Bellator is continuing to grow and grow and grow. Like, you're not losing your big names. If anything, that's happening to the UFC, and that's certainly happening to the World Series of Fighting. Bellator is the opposite. Bellator is the one that's like legit growing and is sniping people left and right. So anyway, all that to just say, like, Bellator gets so much shit, and I don't really understand it.
Well, you know, and the funny thing was, I saw, because I lurk on all the message boards and everything, and I saw a lot of people be like, well, okay, I'm not sure about that main event, but if they were to put Fedor on this show, I'd definitely buy it. And then the very next day, we're like, yeah, we're putting Fedor on that show. And I was like, so all of you promised to buy. Remember, though, there's 100 people in this thread that said if Fedor was on this card, you'd buy it.
Yeah.
So
the best one was the announcement that this was the first reverse pay-per-view where Bellator is actually going to pay people to watch it. I liked that one. I thought that was a pretty good one.
Well, hey, whatever works.
I know. It's so stupid.
You know, there were always the rumors. We always used to joke around with the first pay-per-view that Bjorn had bought 70,000 of them himself for the buys or something like
right.
that. You know,
well, see,
he put out a ton of money and everything.
Here's what sucks, right? So everybody goes, okay, this card is, why are we doing a Bellator? Like, that main event, like, that's doo-doo. You can't have Chael fighting again after his loss to Tito, right? That's not going to carry a card. Only getting Fedor in there is going to carry it. Then they get Fedor. Right, then you guys get Fedor. And then it goes, yeah, but Fedor is super, super old. Like, what does that fight even mean anyway? You got to get one of the new signings. Like, you got to get Lorenz Larkin on the card, right? So then they'll announce, they haven't announced this or haven't said this or anything. I'm just making this up. So then they'll get, Lima and Larkin, right? And people will go, yeah, but Larkin is like a UFC reject. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, in order to do this, you got to do this. There's always going to be stipulations. And that's what you're going to see with, God forbid, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but God forbid Conor McGregor actually beat Mayweather. Because if that were to happen, I highly doubt it would, but if that were to happen, the amount of excuses that would come out of the community for why that happened is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be, well, yeah, but Mayweather's old. Like, he took advantage of a guy who was at the twilight of his career and blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, all of you people said he had no shot, though. Like, all of you people said if he was 90, he'd beat him. He wasn't 90. He was 42, he still not that far removed from a fight. I don't know. People that happens with everything. Everybody is always going to start with a stipulation because their stipulation is coming from a place that they don't like the thing in the first place, right? They don't like it at all. And not much is going to convince them. But they then kind of lie to themselves and lie to other people well, if you do this, then fine. But once you do that, they're immediately going to find something else to rip apart. That's just how that works.
It's confirmation bias. It
is. Confirmation bias 100%. Yep, 100%. That's exactly what it is.
I tell you what, I did find out, though. I was just recently in Dublin and in Belfast, though, Ireland and Northern Ireland. And holy shit, I have never experienced anything the way I experienced their love of Conor McGregor over there. There's no MMA fighter ever in the history of the United States to be as popular in the United States as Conor is in Ireland. I've never seen anything like it. They know he's on everybody's lips. You say you have anything to do with MMA, it's everybody knows Conor. They know everything about him. They know where he lives. They knew what kind of car he drove. You know, it was like everything. I've never seen that type of love for a fighter here as I'm seeing for him over there, which got me in some tight spots because I was in a bar, go figure, right? And they asked me who I thought would win that fight. And I said, well, it's a boxing match, so I'm going to have to give the edge to Mayweather. If it was MMA, I mean, Mayweather would die. You know, it's a boxing match, so
he would literally die. Like, I think that he would literally die.
Oh, absolutely. And you should see their faces. They act like I just insulted their mother. You know, I said, well, in a boxing match, you know, I'm going to give it to the boxer, you know, under boxing rules. And I could not, like, I was like ducking and having to run out of bars.
Well,
you know,
especially a guy,
they're like, no.
Especially a guy who, you have two people whose careers, for the most part, are predicated on counterboxing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mayweather more so than McGregor, but both people use the other person's aggression to to win their fights. They're reactionary fighters.
Absolutely.
They use the other person's aggression, like obviously Mayweather, of course, but McGregor, I mean, look at that Eddie Alvarez fight. Conor wasn't doing anything until Eddie Alvarez made the move first. And then as soon as Alvarez would make a move, Conor would land 3 and 4 shots. Which is a boxing motif. I mean, that's what boxers do. So I do think he's prepared to box. I don't think he's prepared to box Mayweather by any stretch.
Oh, he's taking it seriously. Taking it seriously.
But he's a good boxer.
Nelson fought Mayweather. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good boxer.
I mean, I think that he would do well in boxing. But,
yes.
You know, I just I don't think that in this case. I mean, it's just me. I mean, it could go either way, I guess. But
no.
You know, I just think in this case that Mayweather would probably take it. I don't think it's going to be some kind of like walk through, you know, mud stomping or anything like that.
What was the kid's name? What was the kid's name in Karate Kid?
Wait, the actual guy, Daniel LaRusso, the star?
Daniel LaRusso, yeah. Okay, so this is I think this is what you're seeing here, right? This is Mayweather's Mr. Miyagi, and he's probably not much younger. Okay, Conor McGregor is Danny LaRusso, and he's really not that much older. But at the end of the day, Mr. Miyagi's going to win that. Like, he just is. Like, that's the teacher. Mayweather is the teacher, man. Like, this is a guy who. This isn't what this podcast is supposed to be about. I guess it's not supposed to be about anything. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Yeah, whatever.
That's why I like it.
We're adults.
I'm like, we are adults. We make decisions for ourselves. Yeah, I like it. But anyway, yeah, I don't think he has any real type of shot. I would love to see it if he could pull that off. Hell yeah.
Oh,
hell yeah.
It would set the sports world on fire. Which, hey, I'm okay with. You know, I mean, like, I like disruptive stuff like that. So I would crack up. I would literally have no doubt that I would just roll over on my couch because I would buy it 100%. I would buy it, but I would just roll over laughing, just tears coming out of my face if Conor won, just because I just know it's going to piss off so many people. And that would just make my day. That's the kind of person I am, I guess. But that would just kill me if that happened. So
yeah.
We'll see. I hope it happens. I really do. Just for my own amusement.
When I started off, I said there's no way it's going to happen, right? Or no, sorry. When I started off, I'm like, of course it's going to happen. Then I switched. Then I was like, I don't think so. Like, I don't think this is going to happen. And now I'm in the camp that it's 100% going to happen. So, first of all,
now there's too much hype and money involved.
There's too much, man.
Not happen now.
Like, I don't trust Dana White as far as I can throw him, which isn't very far, if anywhere. But when he went on the Tonight, when he went on the Tonight Show and said what he said, like, I was like, maybe there's legs to this thing. I mean, I don't know why.
Oh, what did he say, that he doesn't see it not happening?
Yeah, I mean, basically he was just like, listen, like, it's not really up to me, but like, I'm not going to be an impediment to it. Like, you know. Yeah. Like, I could make a lot of money, so why would I try to stop
by
it?
the Ali Act now.
Yes.
Conor was smart to apply for his boxing license. I mean, he's 100% smart to do that, and then basically, you know, fall under the purview and protection of the Ali Act. I think it's great. It was a great move. Probably pissed off, you know, the new management a little bit, but that's Connor's style.
Yeah.
But yeah, the new management is making mistakes left and right over there. So I'm just watching. It's like watching the Titanic sink right now. I think that they're going to go public. That's just my guess. I think they're going to go public to try and make their money back. I don't see any other way out of it.
Which I really hope that's not what happens.
You know,
just as an MMA fan.
I agree with Joe Rogan on that.
As an MMA fan,
we'll
I just don't want that to happen. Please don't let that happen.
Yeah.
That's bad news written all over it. If you start letting stockholders make the decisions about fights, holy shit, man.
Agreed.
You're going to have some of the goofiest fights in the world. You're going to see Ronda Rousey fight Floyd Mayweather. That's the kind of stuff you're going to see. It's just going to be nonsense. I have no desire to see that. Please don't. We probably shouldn't even be talking about it and tempting the universe.
I don't know. We're probably going to get sued or something now, but I was actually a part of a company that got bought out, hostily taken over, as it were, and they paid 8 times share price. And I remember this was actually a United Surgical Partners International, a chain of surgery centers. And I remember one of the surgeons I worked with who had actually, before he was a surgeon, had gotten his master's degree in economics from the London School of Economics, goes, nope, they're telling you nothing but lies. And we're like, how do you figure? And they're like, nobody pays 8 times share price and then waits that long to make their money back, let alone a profit. And I'm like, everything they're telling you about not changing and everything and no cuts and, all of that and everything's just going to stay the same way. That's a lie. It'll never happen if they paid more than 1-to-1. And he's like, and if they pay 8-to-1, he's like, you're fucked. That's basically what he said to us. And you know what? He was right. 6 months later, everyone had left. It was crazy around there. Benefits had been cut. Hours had been increased. Overtime had been canceled. It was all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm looking at the UFC right now, and I'm like, man, that looks really familiar. I saw that. I lived through it. And that's what I feel like is going on over there right now. I mean, I have friends that work there, and they are all basically they were it was kind of, it was kind of like The Walking Dead before. There were maybe, some teamwork, and generally everybody out for themselves, but, with some teamwork. And now it's just straight up the Hunger Games over there. Everybody's out for themselves. Fuck everybody else. No alliances, no friends. It's everybody just fighting tooth and nail to keep their job. And I'm like, man, that's sad. I wouldn't want to work there. I don't think I could work there. It's awful over there from what I understand. So yeah. I'm glad I turned down an opportunity to go there about 4 years ago. And boy, am I glad I made that decision.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy. I mean, you seem like you have a pretty sweet gig where you are. I mean, I think I'd stay. I was watching, which event was it? I was watching, it was 2 events ago. I was watching and I was like, hey, there's Matt. It was the first time I'd actually seen you in real time. I'm like, hey, there's Matt. I see him. It's pretty cool. That's what I love about doing a podcast.
I'm so busy with a lot of hand wraps lately. Just those come and go in ebbs and flows. And then, with management responsibilities and operation stuff, it's funny. It seems like the more I get into the position, the higher I kind of rise in my field, the less of the work, the classic manager conundrum, I guess, is the less of the actual work that I got into the field to do, I get to do. You know what I mean? Now, whereas before on a 12-fight Bellator card, I'd corner 10 fighters and wrap 8 of them. Now it's still wrapping 8 of them, but I only get to corner maybe 1 or 2 now.
Yeah.
Just because I'm so busy with everything else. So, it's good and it's bad at the same time. But, it's still fun. I always say it's still better than a regular job.
No, of course.
I'm still seeing the world, on Viacom's dime. I would have never gone to Budapest before or Milan or anything like that. So, I'm always grateful. And I'm lucky enough that they let me pick, my own team there at Bellator. And so I work with people that, I trust and that are my friends as well.
Yeah.
So that's another big positive at working in Bellator, that they give you some of that autonomy that I don't think the UFC gives to their people.
Yeah. Now, I do want to tell our listeners real quick. So, obviously, I have you on, and you're a Cutman, and, for the most part, we're really not talking about it. But just tell our listeners, the reason why we're not really talking about it is because he has already been on the show to talk about being a Cutman. And I'm going to give you, in 2 seconds, once I pulled up, the exact episode number. Episode 26 of the podcast. A Day in the Life 1, Cutman, Matt Marsden. So if you want to hear all about being a Cutman, go check out that episode. We pretty much covered the gamut. So I definitely want to have I want to have people go check that out because it was a good episode. And Jimmy Smith was the following, not directly after it, but he was the A Day in the Life after it. So you were first, he was second. That was of course by design,
as it should be. Yeah.
I cannot wait to talk to him tomorrow because I'm gonna get him all riled up about you. All right. So we were talking about at the beginning. I announced this the other day on the podcast, but I got my first credentials to an MMA event, and that MMA event just so happens to be Bellator 175, which is the card that we are going to briefly discuss, not for too long, but I do want to bring up at least the main event, and you can tell me if there's any other fights on this card that I should be looking at and should be researching. I'm going to get a chance to talk to a lot of these guys. So anyways, got my first media credentials, and I am super, super stoked. We got to find a way to get me into the ring. Okay, that's where I'm at right now. I bet there's a tunnel somewhere. All of those, like, what do you call them? Like not a coliseum, but what do you call those places? Like a center.
I don't get what you're.
What do you call it?
In Chicago?
No. So what are you so it's like the all-state. What do you call
arena?
This? Arena. I'm like, what is the word that I am looking for? I was like, it's not a coliseum. I'm like, it's not in Rome. Like, it's not in Rome. Like, what is the word I'm looking for? Arena.
Listen, man, it's like we talked about before. We're adults. We can call it whatever we want.
Hey, man, if I want to
state coliseum now.
If I want to call it the damn coliseum, then that's what it's called. The all-state. So
yes, sir.
So there has to be a tunnel at the All-State Coliseum. There's always tunnels in those places. I bet you I could tunnel into the octagon. I'm not saying during a fight, but I got to get in there.
It's not that far. If you make nice with some of the media people, they're from Bellator. There's only like 3 or 4 of them, so it's not hard to do. I'm sure that they can get you, in there if you want to grab a cute, like a few pics, like cage side. Or in the cage. I'm sure that shouldn't be too big of a problem. Usually the last 20 minutes after a show are just people going in there taking pictures anyway.
Yeah, I do.
So it wouldn't be probably the biggest deal. So,
I've got to do it, man.
First time credential holder.
I've got to do it.
Exciting. They want as much good press as they can get anyway.
The one thing I'm not going to do, and it's because I see people doing this a lot, and I talked about this when I announced all this stuff, but, the thing I'm not going to do, because I see people do it, and I think it's really, I think you shouldn't do it, is I'm not going to get pictures with anybody. Like, if there's anybody in the audience or anything like that, I'm not going to get pictures with anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Unless it's, something I can't refuse. Like, if Chael Sonnen's there, I don't care where he is. I'm going to get a picture with Chael Sonnen, period. But that's it though. Other than the people who I'm talking to, and I won't even get pictures. I'm going to be doing Facebook Live stuff. But yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's the one thing I'm not going to do. Although I could see why it's tempting, but I'm not going to do it because
I agree with you. I can count maybe 5 or 6 times in all the. I've worked over. We just figured this out the other day. It's something like 147 shows now. I've worked for Bellator.
Incredible.
And I think 5 or 6 times I've gotten pictures with people or fighters, and it's times I just can't refuse. Like the first time Fedor came to a show, I was like, I can't not take this picture. You know what I mean? So it's Fedor. CT Fletcher was at a show recently. I did get a picture with him because I am a really big fan of CT Fletcher, but in general, we'll have some fighters show up and you don't want to seem like too much of a fanboy. Like, to me, that's I just don't want to come off that way. I remember back in the Strikeforce days, I was working with a few fighters and we all ended up in a van heading back to the hotel. And this was, I want to say it was Arlovsky Rogers, or Arlovsky got knocked out in St. Louis. And so we're riding back to the hotel, and Anderson Silva rolls up, and he just hey, man, are you guys going back to the hotel? Can I jump in and get a ride? And I'm sitting in this van and I'm like, fucking
Holy
Anderson
shit.
Silva.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
like at his peak too. And it was like, oh my God, like I'm texting everyone I know. I'm keeping it cool in the van. Like I'm just, oh, hey, what's up, Anderson? Hey, oh yeah, I didn't notice you there. I'm trying to be that guy. But at the same time, I'm texting every single person like on my phone, like, oh my God, Anderson Silva just got in the van and I'm trying to keep it cool, but I can't keep it cool. Oh my God, what the fuck do I do? But in reality, like on the outside, I'm like, no, hey, it's okay. And I do go through that a lot still to this day. It shows because, I am a fan of the sport. And I feel sorry for anyone that doesn't still go through that a little bit. You keep it cool on the outside. You do the right professional thing. But to me, it's totally okay to be an insane 4-year-old fan on the inside. And just,
I'll be fanboying out
internally.
I'll be fanboying out even for very basic people. Like, it's going to be really hard not to be like, hey, like, you're awesome. Like, I love this fight. This fight was awesome. You're great. Take a picture with me. Like, that's going to be hard because that's what I want to do. But like, I'm just not going to do it unless it's something that I just literally can't refuse. Like, I'm obviously going to get a picture with you. I'm going to get a picture with Jimmy. I got to meet up with both of you while I'm in town. But other than that, man, I'm going to leave everybody alone. And like I said,
if the opportunity presents itself, I say go for it. If if somebody really like, hey man, it may never happen again. Don't let it pass you by.
Someone who is apparently going to be in town for something because they're like doing some dinner or something before is Michael Chandler, and that's gonna be tough. Like that's gonna be if I see him in the audience and it's before the show starts and he's just hanging out. Like
I will bring Michael Chandler over to you,
bro.
If you want. I will bring him over to you.
Love Michael Chandler.
I've known him since his days in Mizzou. He went to Mizzou. He's from St. Louis, like myself. He trained at my gym first, actually. For his first couple of Strikeforce shows, he was actually out of my gym, St. Charles MMA. With Mike Rogers as the head coach there. So, that's like if you want to be, if you
that's
want
awesome.
Mike Chandler to come over,
I'm a big Chandler fan, man. I'm a huge Mike Chandler fan.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
He's a super nice guy. He would have no problem coming over. I just tell him like, dude, he's a huge fan. He's sick. You should come over, and it's fine. MVP actually did. Funny story actually about Belfast. I know this isn't a funny story hour, but
this is we are adults, Matt. We're adults. We're adults.
We're adults. So we were in Belfast, and the crowd was slightly inebriated, as the Irish are known to be from time to time at sporting events.
You don't say.
Where I was sitting, darndest thing, I know. And there was this group of guys hanging over the bike racks where I was sitting. They were just soft, and they really wanted to meet MVP. And he was sitting, I don't know, kind of counted corner from us, 20 feet away or so. And they were like really on, like, can you please just ask him? Can you please just ask him? But I was like, I don't know. The security wasn't all that great in the arena, in my opinion. And I don't know, these guys are pretty drunk. I really didn't want to bring MVP over. So I walked over to him and I was like, hey, Michael. And he's like, hey, what's up, man? And I was like, hey, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to pretend that I'm asking you to go over there and meet these guys. And you're going to pretend to tell me that you'll do it in a little while. And then we're just not going to do it. And he's like,
that's funny.
He's like, well, why don't I just go over there and meet them? And I was like, I think that's a real bad idea. I think you might get trapped over there for like 20, 30 minutes and they're probably going to, spill all their beer on you.
Oh, no.
I think it's just, I don't think it's the right, thing to do for you right now. Cause you're dressed very nicely. So we're just going to shake hands and I'm going to walk over there and tell them that, you can't come over right now, but in a little bit you'll make your way and we'll just leave it at that. And he's like, all right. Sounds good. Do whatever you need to do.
Just don't do me like that. Don't do me like that. Even if I'm sloppy drunk, don't do me like that.
Yeah, because these guys were just, you can just get that feel sometimes when the fans are just a little too far, and you're like, this is one of those things where one of them makes a little quip, it says something stupid, and then Paige gets pissed off, and this guy gets pissed off, and he's Irish, and Paige is English, and weird things happen. I don't know. Yeah. So there's still a lot of that going on. So
yeah,
but yeah, it was just so funny. I was like, just just pretend I'm asking you and shake your head yes, and then I'll go over and tell them that you'll be fine.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? Oh, so I just looked it up. So apparently there's like a tailgate thing. So I don't know anything about all this stuff. There's like a tailgate that's that Friday before everything like starts kicking off, or while it's kicking off. I don't know.
Yeah.
It says 6 to 7:30 Central, and that's when the event is happening. So I don't understand how that works. But I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Yeah, they've been doing that. The bigger temple shows lately. They've been doing a tailgate kind of around the start of the undercard. I mean, they realize that a lot of people on the undercard, are ticket buyers and stuff like that as friends and family. Not everyone's ready to necessarily go into the main event and sit there because it's a long time. If you're there from the first fight of the prelims to the last fight of the main card,
there's 16
that's a long
fights on this
time.
card. Yeah.
So they've been doing these tailgate things, which are cool. I think the last one had like hoists and people like that out there, and it's cool. You just kind of come. If you're a ticket holder, you just you show up, you hang out with the guys. They do autographs. They have the line and everything. It's free. Like they already have the 8x10s printed up. They'll sign up for you right there. You don't have to do anything for them, and you shake hands, take a picture, and just basically hang out with like-minded people. Those tailgates always turn out to be a lot of fun.
Well, this one is Fedor and Hoist Gracie.
That's pretty good.
Dude,
pretty good tailgate.
That's super legit. Fedor and Hoist? Like, yeah. It's like, do I get access to that? Because sign me up, man. Like, that's awesome.
Probably if you want it. I don't know.
I know. It says tailgate win Friday, March 7th. It's Fedor and Hoist Gracie. Like, how cool, man. Like, again, if I'm inside, if I'm during the fights, I'm not going to be doing it. But that might be something that they'll let us talk to them on, on that Friday before everything gets kicked off. So I'm hoping they do that for the media people. Let us get some pictures and stuff.
And Hoist especially is very approachable.
Yeah.
Hoist is extremely approachable. Like he loves to BS with fans. Not that Fedor isn't, but Hoist just especially so. Like more than most people. Is very, very outgoing and willing to talk and BS. As a matter of fact, I've seen him when they do the fan fest and stuff, and there's like 5 or 6 people in the autograph line, or 5 or 6 of the superstars in the autograph line. Like, Hoist will be the one that's holding up the line because he's spending so much time with each fan. So it's usually Hoist and Liam McGeary are the 2 line holders that keep everything from moving and flowing properly because they just can't resist like BSing and talking about MMA, and Mo is the same way. He doesn't do a lot of the fan fest, but like King Mo is an encyclopedia of like folk style and Greco wrestling, MMA and boxing. Like I swear I could ask Mo, who was like the Lake County, Florida wrestling champion at 170 in 1972. He would probably tell me who it was. Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, that was Steve Smith. Everybody knows that. I'm like, no, only you know that. But that's what makes you because you know that.
Yeah.
So, they all love to just like, they're such fans of the sport themselves. Which is funny to see in Hoist because, he started the damn thing.
Yeah, dude. Like, for real, though. Like, for real started the whole thing. Like, that's not even hyperbole. I mean, that is like, yeah. I mean, see, that's what I'm just trying to get all this stuff out now. I got a fangirl right now. So that way, if I get there, I want to be professional. I want to get invited back in the future. I want to make sure I'm not like there and being like, yeah, so I'm supposed to be doing this job, which is, live tweeting during this event or taking pictures, whatever it is I'm doing at that moment. But instead, I'm going to walk out of the arena and go wait in line to talk to Hoist. So, I can't be doing that. So hopefully they give us prior access. If not, I won't be meeting him, and that's fine because I'm going to fangirl right now. So that way when I'm there, I can be professional and do what I got to do.
Just keep it cool. Just woosah.
Just keep it cool, man. So we got to talk. We got to talk Rampage King Mo. This is their second fight. The first fight was UFC. It wasn't Bellator. But this is their second fight now.
Yep.
This is a good one, man. I don't really have too much of an opinion on how this one's going to end. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have one, but I don't really have too much of an opinion on it.
I cornered Mo in his first fight, so maybe I'm just to put that out there as a disclaimer. I did corner Mo in his first fight with Rampage. But I thought that Mo won that fight, and it's one of the few times, and my wife has even said that to me. She goes, "It's one of the few times I've ever seen you have like an actual facial reaction to a decision or anything." She's like, "Normally you're out there stone faced, looking all like an asshole and everything." She's like, "But when they read that decision, I could see you." And she goes, "And you literally registered surprise, because that's how sure I was." Like, nah, that's easy. Two rounds to one for Mo. I don't see it any other way. And when they read the decision, I was like, holy, what?
Yeah.
And then the whole Dick Rider incident happened after that. But I don't know. To me, I'm looking at Rampage and just, I just don't think that he's taking this as serious as Mo. I think Rampage is, it's just, yeah, whatever, it's another fight. Whereas Mo, like, this is real for him. Like, this is a vendetta almost for him. He believes, and I think rightfully, so, that he won that first fight, and he's coming to like make a statement. I really do. I think that if Rampage if he expects to see the same Mo that he fought last time, I think he's in for a big surprise, because I think Mo is pissed, like legitimately pissed.
Well, I was about to say, speaking of,
we may see like a Steph Petrozelli incident,
yeah, oh yeah,
it ends up bad.
Yeah, no, this is, I agree with everything you said. I mean, this is definitely, I think, if I'm looking at it objectively, I think this is a fight that King Mo should win here on many different levels. So I'd say, talking about, like, that's how I felt watching the Michael Chandler Eddie Alvarez fight, the second one, where I was just like, Eddie won that? Like, you may disagree, I'm sure you do, but I was pretty shocked. I've rewatched that fight because I rewatched it 2 or 3 times before the McGregor fight.
Wait, Alvarez Chandler 2 or 3?
2.
2 or 3?
Oh, 3.
2 was the one that Chandler won. 3, yeah. 3 was the one that Eddie won it back. So it went Alvarez, Chandler, Alvarez in the trilogy.
And I don't think he won the first time either. I don't think Eddie Alvarez won any of them personally. The first one I think that was the one that's like, okay, sure. The third one I think is where I was like, there's no way. In my opinion,
I remember thinking after the third one, because everybody was so jacked up.
Yeah,
I remember thinking, like, man, I wouldn't want to score this fight.
Yeah,
I remember thinking that specifically. Like, I wouldn't. There's been a couple of times lately. I'm like, ooh, man, I'm glad I'm not the judge.
Now, the last time I watched the third Alvarez fight, though, just to be forthcoming, the last time I watched it was looking for deficits. Like, I was looking for why Conor was going to beat him. Like, that's what my whole thing of watching that fight was, because I was betting on it and stuff. So I was like, all right, like, let's look for those deficits, because I thought that his wrestling has been overplayed, right? And that was like the whole reason why he was going to beat Conor was the wrestling. So I was like, okay, I think that whole thing's overplayed. He didn't even go to college for wrestling. Like, I think the whole thing's just overplayed. So I'm watching that fight kind of looking for deficits. So that's probably why when I watched it recently, I was like, he did not win that fight on any scoring regimen. Like, if I had to score it on any different thing, he didn't win in any category. But like I said, I think a lot of that is I was watching it through a lens that you're not supposed to watch a fight through. So, and especially in a close fight, like, you can't watch it through that lens.
I mean, yeah. It's hard for me especially when I remember whose corner I was in or whatever. Because I have a tendency, if I'm cornering someone, I'm going to watch them just a little bit closer, and I'm not necessarily watching the fight as a whole. You know what I mean?
Doing your job.
I actually go back and watch it on tape as well. Yeah, I'm watching my fighter, but I'm not watching the fight, if that makes sense, at all the time. Unless it's extremely boring, and then I wish I wasn't watching the fight. Like, we can talk about Carvalho Manhoff, like that fight. I was just sitting there like, oh, Jesus Christ, I just don't even want to be here right now.
Dude, there was a fight. There was a fight not that long ago. What card was it? Boy, it was a Gracie. It was one of the Gracies that fought recently. Was it High and Gracie? Yes. Boy, that's one of the worst fights I've ever seen. That was one of the worst fights I've seen.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, that might have been the opening fight on TV or something too. And I was like, ooh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I remember that, and I was like, oh, that was nasty. I wish that hadn't have happened. You know, that same thing. Like, we're not immune to that. Like, we know when there's been a bad fight. Like, as you know, it's Howard Gracie. Yeah, Hisaki Kato and Howard Gracie. Just remember.
That was it.
When you know, I mean, when you're watching these coaches may, you know, kick and whine and scream, and promoters may do the same. And of course, Jimmy has to do his best to talk up something, but we know when there's a bad fight, we're not dumb, you know? So I remember when we watched that fight, we're like, ooh, man, we're going to get roasted for that. You know, when we go online later, it just happens, you know, not everyone's a barn burner, but you know, sometimes, you know, people give a shit for like, why are you hyping up such a boring fight? I don't know. Cause it's my job.
Cause that's your job. I mean, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Listen, bro, like some fights I'm super stoked about. Some fights I just know suck. But, you know, sometimes that's the position you get put in. So those two are rematching, though, in, I want to say Italy in a couple of weeks. So it's either Italy or Budapest. I think it's Italy again.
Oh, okay.
And hopefully they will redeem themselves on that first fight. Hopefully they come out and just absolutely kill it this time. So,
that's interesting that they're doing a rematch. Like, you would think when you have such a poor fight, you would just say, okay, let's just move on. Like, let's pretend like it never happened. Let's move on. But that's interesting. That's interesting that they're...
You know, I think that both Bellator and the fighters realized that could have been a lot better, that was not what anyone expected from anyone, and let's try it again, especially since most of us... to me, that was a bit of a controversial decision because as lackluster of a fight as it was, I thought that Manhoff won. I was also very surprised that Carvalho won. So, and you know, it's not even I can't even blame like an overseas commission because we were using an American commission that we brought over with us for that first fight. So I wasn't like judging that they just don't know wrestling over here or something like that. It was nothing in that case. It was an American commission. It was just a lackluster fight, and I just feel like Carvalho didn't really. I don't know, but. Anyway, we are rematching that. Like I said, I think in Italy is our main event, and hopefully we get some highlight reel shit out of it like we were supposed to get the first time.
Yeah. Another fight on this I want to call people's attention to because I'm just excited to watch it is a guy, his name is Nate Williams, I believe. Yeah, Nate Williams. This is on one of the prelims, so I doubt it's televised or anything. But it's Nate Williams versus
Manny Vasquez.
Yeah, Vasquez. So I'm excited to watch this one because Nate Williams is a guy who I had tracked before. He's 5'1" and has trouble making the 125. So the last time he weighed in at 125, he was underweight. He was at 123.2. So he's 5'1", has trouble making 125. He's debuting at Bellator at 135 against a guy who's 5'10". So I'm interested in that fight on a kind of a circus level.
About this fight too is also though these guys are both ground guys,
dude. And
Manny is a ground guy. Nate is a ground guy.
This guy is fun to watch, dude. He's fun to watch.
Yes. So we're gonna get, I think, a bit of a high level, like exciting, jiu-jitsu match out of this. Where they also get to punch each other in the face. But I think we're gonna see something fun because those little guys. I call them Sampo size. I used to, at the gym in St. Louis, I trained with Josh Sampo, who is a UFC vet. And, he's always the smallest guy in our gym. He's kind of like this, about 5'2" and, walked at 125 sort of thing. Yeah. And so I've always called them Sampo size, those guys. But, Nate is a little Sampo size guy.
Damn,
it's going to be a fun fight. I'm actually stoked to watch it. I actually knew about this fight before you brought it up because I looked at it and I was like, wait, what's going on here? These guys both have, pretty good records. Let me check them out. And I did a little research. And I was like, that's going to be a good fight. This is definitely like a fight to keep an eye on. There's a couple on the prelims though, Nate and Manny and Joaquin Buckley and Justin Patterson's another one. To keep an eye on. Noad Lahat and Lloyd Carter.
That's
maybe
main
not
card.
To step up in competition I don't think is Noad on the main card. I think that we start off with Jake Roberts and Steve Cazzola as our opener on the main card.
And again, Tapology might be wrong because Tapology lists that as the Noad as the first fight, but that it may be wrong.
Yeah, I think Noad. So I think he's like kind of our main event on the undercard. But Noad, really, he could use a bit more of a step up in competition. But he's been training in the States. And, he was on our Israeli card, and he was pretty impressive on that card against, I believe it was Scott Cleave. And, I think he got a rear naked choke in the first round against Scott Cleave. And so he's one to keep an eye on. But to me, the sleeper on this whole card is Steve Cazzola and Jake Roberts, because Steve knocks dudes out. You know what I mean? And Jake is a St. Louis guy that's training at the lab now in Arizona, and Jake can take a punch. He's more of a jiu-jitsu and wrestling type guy, but he is just he's farm strong. You know what I'm talking about?
A lot of his, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, he is just a strong, holy shit, how are you so strong? How do you have a grip like that? Like, he is just
almost
tough,
all of his wins.
Kind of,
every single one of his amateur wins came from a choke, and then most of his professional wins came from chokes. And a lot of times chokes are because you can just overpower the other dude. It has nothing to do with having a ground game.
He's like a little an almost like Matt Hughes reoccurrence. You know what I mean? Where he just has this this incredible strength on the ground. Yeah. And he just he really powers and muscles his way into a lot of things. And like I said, he's got a bit of a chin too. He's taken a lot of good shots that I've seen. So it'll be interesting. I'm actually super stoked to see that fight, just to see how, because that's a contenders match almost. Those guys are both really going to be up and comers. Like, whoever wins that is going to stay on the main card, wherever they get used next. I guarantee you.
That's
so cool. It's a big fight for the both of them for sure. So I think they're the opening fight. As far as I've been told right now, they're the opening fight. So I think that'll be a good, exciting opening fight for people at home too, if they're not quite sure that they made the right choice in tuning in. You know what I mean? I always worry about that open fight. So I'm like, oh man, I hope the opening fight's really good so that people don't tune out and just go watch South Park or something.
Yeah, right. Which you guys should tune in. So it's Friday, March 31st, which is I say next Friday, but this is not going to be coming out this week. But it's Friday, March 31st, 9 p.m. Eastern, Spike TV. It's on free TV if you have cable. The fights that are televised is the main card. You can watch the undercard, generally speaking, at BellatorMMA.com, right? Or Bellator.com?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that you can watch, even if you don't have Spike on your cable provider, I think if you have the Bellator app, you can watch even the live Spike portion for free. Just you'd have to watch it on your phone or tablet.
There you go.
You can still watch it even if you don't have Spike.
Yeah. There's no reason not to watch it. So go watch it. Just go watch it. It's free. And the main event's awesome, man. The main event's great. I'm excited to watch the fight. I'm excited to watch, like you were talking about, I'm excited to watch Cazzola and Roberts. The whole main card, I think, looks pretty good. So I'm excited to watch it. Yeah, man. I mean, tell everyone where to find you. This isn't going to be your last time. It's not your first time. It's not going to be your last time. No. But tell everyone where to find you.
All social media is at Cutman Matt, CUTMANMATT. And hit me up on Instagram and Twitter. I love to interact with everybody. And I'm on Facebook too, but not very much. So Instagram and Twitter are definitely your best bet.
Yeah.
But come find me. Interact.
Awesome, dude. I will personally see you in Chicago here in a week and a half or so.
Yes, sir.
So that'll be
looking
exciting,
forward
man.
to it.
Yes, sir. I will see you there.
Right.
I'm having Jimmy on. Do you want me to pass anything on to him?
Just tell him congratulations on the operation. Don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I'll lead off with that, and we'll see where it goes.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, sounds good.
Right, bye.
Bye.
The host of the LoudMouth MMA podcast, Kyle Steele. Executive producer and head of marketing, Philip Herman. Today's episode was mixed by Danny Adams, myself. Special thanks to the MMA prophet, Sean Ihass, Dave Madden, Keith from the MMA Takeover, the Harmony Acres Soap Company, and the Vobal. To learn more about the LoudMouth MMA podcast, please visit loudmouthmma.com.